I was in Vegas this weekend, and my college football picks were unbelievable. I made 11 bets. I won 10 of them. Guess which one I lost?
This one?
Yep, this is the one I lost. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Nick DiMartino. That's Will Charlton, and this is another edition of Forever Power 5. You can you can follow me on Twitter at Nick DiMartWill, at Will Charlton H13, and Zan at Zambando99. And this podcast on Twitter and Instagram at FP5 ETB and at Forever Power 5, no caps or spaces on TikTok. You can watch all Empty to Bench shows on YouTube.com/ETB Network. And you can listen to Forever Power 5 wherever you get your podcasts. And this show is presented by Playback. Stay tuned for later in the show to find out more. All right, so we lead off with a whole lot of shakeups in the SEC.
Oh man.
Totally upset Alabama.
Yeah. Unreal.
I was in Vegas this weekend, and my college football picks were unbelievable. I made 11 bets. I won 10 of them. Guess which one I lost?
This one?
Yep, this is the one I lost.
I was so high on Alabama coming into this week. I mean, I'm shocked because Alabama was playing like one of the best teams in the country prior to this week. And then all of a sudden they do this. Like, also, how weird is Oklahoma? Because we've seen Oklahoma look terrible in a few games, but then they do this. Like, they beat South Carolina on the road, like, by a crazy margin. This is an insane win for Oklahoma. I mean, they might have just, like, yeah, it's crazy.
Oklahoma makes no sense because their two best wins were on the road. They played Ole Miss at home, and they lost to Ole Miss, and they couldn't even –
and almost lost to Auburn at home, too.
Yeah, came close to losing to Auburn, and if not for a couple of bad calls, very likely could have lost that game.
Yep.
And also, they weren't even competitive against Texas. And I think that some of that – I think that really had a lot to do with John Mateer's first day back from hand surgery.
Yeah, and now that he's looking healthy again, I mean, man, he's playing well. I mean, I know he didn't, like – light the stats up by any mean on Saturday, but he did what he had to do.
Right. No, he hasn't been lighting his stats have not been great. His stats weren't great against Tennessee either. But yeah, Oklahoma is a really tough team to figure out. I think this game in a weird way says a lot more about Oklahoma than it does about Alabama. Though
I think it does.
I think Alabama's a team that is they're a little bit one-dimensional. I think Ty Simpson has to be really great. Their passing game has to be great every day.
And it wasn't. Oklahoma's defense kind of shut them down.
Oklahoma is a very good defensive team. They have
a great defense. No,
which I never thought I'd live to see the day.
They're deep. I know, right? Being for the Big 12, obviously, with all the shootouts they used to have, and considering the Red River rivalry used to be like a 45-40 game every year.
now that they're both SEC teams and have different coaching,
they've adapted the style of play pretty quickly. It's actually pretty impressive, to be honest.
Well, yeah, that's the weird thing about. I guess that's one thing that I love about college football is how.
Besides Texas this past weekend, but we'll talk about that.
Right, that's one thing I love about college football is just how different every conference is. It's like completely separate leagues.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
it's like totally separate leagues. It's like. The closest example, like there's so much sovereignty. It's part of the reason that I can't stand when people try to fit like a professional, like an NFL screw into a college football hole. Like they would say things like they would criticize the committee and say things like, well, imagine if in the NFL they did this. And it's like, it's so different. Like
there's such different games. I mean, you really can't compare the two. You really can't because each league is different. Each league has different styles of teams. Like the NFL. Yeah. I mean, obviously, like you have your really good defensive teams, you have really good offensive teams, but like it balances out more in the NFL than
way more. Not to mention schedule. Like the truth is, the NFL and college football have a lot of the same tendencies. I think really the same tendencies, but in college football, it's just so much more drastic. Like you have a lot of like running quarterbacks in the NFL, but it's like way more common in college and they're way more one-dimensional. And you have defensive and offensive coaches in college and the NFL, but it's a much bigger difference in college than in the NFL. And the other thing is that like, there's a lot of sovereignty in college football, if that makes sense, with like different conferences and things like that. And to the point where it's so much different as opposed to like in the NFL, every team in the NFL is very much a part of one entity. In college, it's so drastically different. The SEC and Big 12 and ACC might as well be different leagues, which is why, like and people like who are novice college football fans but are sports fans talk about rankings, a lot of times it drives me crazy because they understand it enough to a point where they can have bad takes about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
Like they understand it enough, just enough to the point where they have an opinion about it, but like they totally miss the mark. Which is we're going to get into the rankings in a little bit. In this game, look, if not, I don't hold this loss against Alabama that much. I really don't. I think I never thought Alabama would be the best team in the country. I am not saying that I think Ohio State would have lost this game. I don't think A&M would have lost this game, but I don't hold it against them that much. Oklahoma's a good team. It's their second loss since losing to Florida State week 1. Alabama's still likely going to be Alabama's still going to be probably going to well, actually no.
I don't know. That's the thing. Like I don't know if they will be in the SEC championship anymore.
Well, they probably will be though, because Georgia, they beat Georgia head to head.
Right.
They each have one loss.
But here's the thing: Alabama still has to go on the road to Auburn.
Well,
and I'm not saying that they're not going to lose that game. I'm just saying the Iron Bowl is always a really, really tough game, especially when it's on the road for Alabama.
Right. That's a fair point. Georgia, they're done with their SEC play, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I think they might still.
I'm pretty sure they're completely finished with their SEC play. Because I know they still have to play Georgia Tech.
Yeah, no, yeah. So they are done. They are.
And
done.
then what culinary school do they play next week?
Charlotte. Yeah. No.
Okay.
So they're. Well, here's the thing though, because Ole Miss now there's a tiebreaker between Ole Miss and Alabama. I don't know who gets in because they don't play each other. I don't know who gets in that
right.
sense. So if A&M wins out, if Ole Miss wins out, I don't know who would get in between.
That's right,
them or
because
Alabama.
Alabama didn't play Ole Miss, so it doesn't even matter that the head-to-head doesn't matter anymore at that point.
And also, here's the thing: that Florida State loss really hurts Bama's strength of schedule right now. It really hurts them. Like, I'm not saying they won't make the CFP, but if they want to make the CFP, they probably have to play in that SEC championship game. They probably do. Like, if they want to safely be in the field.
No, they don't, because they don't have to play in the SEC championship game to make it. Because they're going to take, if there's a three-way tiebreaker between Bama, Ole Miss, and Georgia, and let's say, I don't know, maybe Georgia probably gets, I don't know who has the tiebreak. I think it's Georgia. I could be wrong.
Well, because Georgia beat Ole Miss. Ole Miss didn't play Alabama, but Alabama beat Georgia. So it's a weird triangle right now.
But you can't put Alabama over Ole Miss just because they beat a team that beat them.
Oh, I agree. I agree. No, I'm just saying for the SEC championship scenario.
Right.
Like I don't know how what that would shake out. It's probably common opponents, maybe. Like I don't know.
I can look it up right now, actually.
Yeah,
I bet I can look it up.
No, but the reason I was saying that for Alabama is because I'm not saying that they have to play. I mean, if you finish 10-2, you're going to be in. I'm just saying if they don't, let's say they lose to Auburn, I don't think they probably don't make it at 9-3. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe not. Wait, let me see. Oh my God, I can't get a clear answer. Who?
There's so many different scenarios about this. It's because I remember we dealt with the same thing last year with Georgia.
You know what? I'm just going to look at it on my phone on the ESPN app. I think that'll just give you the actual answer. So SEC standings. Alabama's in 4th place. Georgia's in 2nd place. So I think that's the answer right there. Well, actually, no, because Georgia it doesn't give you the answer.
It's not though. Yeah,
because Georgia is 7-1. If Alabama and Ole Miss both go 7-1, that doesn't answer the question. But Ole Miss has the tiebreaker over Alabama currently.
Right, but they have one more conference game played.
Right, and Ole Miss has to play.
Or no, they don't. No, they don't. I think that's just overall record, actually.
Yeah, no, they're both Ole Miss and Alabama are both 6-1. They're both 6-1. Alabama still has to play Auburn, and Ole Miss still has to play Mississippi State.
I got an answer right here. I just looked up. SEC tiebreaker scenario. So CBS Sports says, despite Alabama's head-to-head win over Georgia in September, the SEC's tiebreaker policy indicates it would be nullified in the event of a 3-way tie that includes Ole Miss, Bama, and Georgia. And since no team went 0-2 or 2-0 within that group, it's nullified because of that. So then the SEC would move to a strength of schedule metric to determine the title contenders between those three. So it says Bama reaches if they beat Auburn, Texas beats Texas A&M, or beat Auburn, Mississippi State beats Ole Miss, or beat Auburn, Alabama. Oh, okay. So if Alabama does win out, they will be in the championship game. So if they beat Auburn, they will be in the championship game.
That's they will.
Sports is saying.
Wait,
yes.
Why?
Because their three-way tie with Ole Miss and Georgia, they will have a stronger SEC opponent winning percentage than both those teams, which makes sense. Okay. Georgia would reach if Ole Miss beats Mississippi State, and that would mean Georgia because that Ole Miss win having more value than
Georgia
they would
make it if Ole Miss beats Mississippi State,
which is interesting.
Wait, I'm confused.
Oh wow! So that Ole Miss actually might be screwed here because
I'm really confused by what you're saying. I thought you said Alabama makes it.
Alabama has the clearest path right now. So if Alabama wins out, CBS Sports says they're in.
Okay.
Like if they beat Auburn. But if Alabama loses.
Oh, okay.
Then if Ole Miss beats Mississippi State, then Georgia gets in.
Okay. That makes sense.
Or wait.
Wait.
So all Alabama has to do is beat Auburn. But then Ole Miss's scenario is they have to beat Mississippi State. Texas has to beat Texas A&M. And then Auburn has to beat Bama. So Ole Miss is probably the oddball out here, it looks like.
So if Texas A&M loses to Texas, they will be out of the championship.
Yeah, it looks like they might be.
Okay, so here's the thing. Regardless, though, Ole Miss is not going to be screwed out of a playoff spot. Same with Georgia. Neither team is going to be screwed out of a playoff spot for not making the SEC championship game because all this is coming down to are tiebreakers. That's it.
Exactly. There's a legit shot the SEC gets four teams in for sure.
Legit shot. It's almost a guaranteed shot they get 4 teams.
It almost is a guarantee at this point.
It's almost guaranteed that they're going to get 4 teams in. The Big Ten, I think they're guaranteed to get 3 teams in.
It's looking like 3 for the Big Ten, unless USC wins out.
Maybe 4. Maybe 4 if you're lucky.
Yeah, it would have to be USC winning out, I think.
Yeah, it would. USC, if USC wins out, then I could see them getting 4 teams in. What I don't like about everything that's going on right now is not only the automatic bids, but also just the flaws in scheduling in all these conferences. I mean, we all knew Miami would be one of the favorites in the ACC this year. And they're not playing any of the top teams in the ACC. Like, there needs to be in college football some type of, maybe every conference could do it separately. It doesn't have to be like an order from the NCAA or anything like that. But every conference should have some way of scheduling some scheduling method that makes it so that the top teams play each other, or at least they play a few of the top teams in their conference. I mean, look, Texas A&M is a great team, but Texas A&M is going to the it's probably going to ride their way to the championship without playing Alabama, Georgia, or Ole Miss, for the whole year. And it's like nobody can predict how good teams are going to be perfectly. I get that, but there's got to be some measure because the scheduling in college football right now is so out of control, even within conferences. It's one thing when one conference plays easier schedules than another, you can account for that kind of. But when a team in one conference, multiple teams in the same conference play vastly different schedules, I think that's a little bit of an issue. I agree. And the thing and it's especially a problem with automatic bids in place. I mean, the committee has Miami ranked. Oh, wait, let me just.
That's the highest ACC team, yeah.
Right. So looking at the rankings, I don't have a whole lot of issues with it in the top 10. I really, really don't. Other than that, I think USC going a little lower outside the top 12, that's when I start to have some issues with it. I think wait, what the hell? Okay, so I'm looking at it. So USC, I think, is ranked too low.
I'd agree.
15, I mean, they're ranked below Vanderbilt and Utah.
I would have USC above Miami and Utah.
Maybe Miami, arguably Miami. Definitely above Utah. Maybe behind BYU, but I'd probably put them ahead of BYU.
No, I wouldn't put them ahead of BYU.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. I think that's fair. But I would definitely put them ahead of Vanderbilt. I actually think Texas is a little bit too low. Look, Texas beat Vanderbilt pretty soundly. I mean, and it was Vanderbilt scored a garbage time touchdown. That game really wasn't close. I think Vanderbilt was ranked.
Oh, they scored 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. I mean, Texas was up.
Yeah,
they were up 34 to 14, 34 to 10, something like that. Yeah.
I would put USC. I would put Texas and USC higher. In terms of the top 12.
Well, they obviously don't really care a whole lot for wins and losses, because in that sense, like, Texas should be ahead of Vanderbilt, Notre Dame should be behind Miami. But that's just not the way that's not the way like it's measured right now, because you have to consider the fact that, and look, I get it. Texas has 3 losses, one of which is on the road to Ohio State, who's number 1 in the country. I get that.
And the other one is on the road against Georgia, who's number 4 in the country.
But they got steamrolled. The only
loss they have is to Florida.
They got steamrolled, though. That's the issue. And the committee's going to weigh that pretty heavily. They got steamrolled.
They got steamrolled. I wouldn't say they got steamrolled by Georgia. I think it's fair. I mean, the truth is, Texas was in that game for like 3 quarters, and then Georgia kind of pulled away at the very end. Georgia went for it on their own 35-yard line at 4th and 1. You know, if that play goes differently, the whole game could have changed pretty drastically. So I wouldn't say they totally got blown out by Georgia, and they didn't get steamrolled by Ohio State either. They lost 14.
No, right.
And I think a lot of these teams that are in the top 15 would have gotten steamrolled by Georgia. Now, maybe you can't, it's fair to say you can't go by that because they haven't actually played. But I think if Vanderbilt went on the road to play Georgia, they'd probably get steamrolled worse than Texas. Now, in terms of Miami, a lot of people are talking about the head-to-head. And there's a lot of criticism about the whole head-to-head thing. Well, here's the thing. Teams that are that head-to-head comes into account when the committee is comparing teams' resumes, and the head-to-head is like, or is something you take into it. But if you're
in that sense, though, what cracks me up is that Notre Dame's best win is not better than Miami's best win. Miami's best win is Notre Dame. Notre Dame's best win so far is USC at home, maybe.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, though. I think those 2 wins are fairly comparable, I would say. But here's the thing. Miami, like, people are criticizing the committee for like not do it for the head-to-head thing with Notre Dame and Miami.
Miami's also got 2 worse losses than Notre Dame does, though. Well, so that's also a big thing.
I just want to finish for a second. So the thing is, people are criticizing the committee for putting Notre Dame ahead of Miami because the committee is like biased in favor of Notre Dame, which I think is complete bullshit. They would be just as biased for Miami as they would Notre Dame. Both of them are very big brands. Either way, the point is that people are criticizing them for putting Notre Dame ahead of Miami, even though Miami beat Notre Dame. But what you have to remember is that when the committee is comparing teams, they don't compare every team in the top 25. They compare small numbers of teams. So they compare the top, say, 4 teams, and then another 4 teams, and another 4 teams. So they're not comparing Notre Dame and Miami because Notre Dame's resume is so much better than Miami's resume, in spite of the fact that Miami beat them. And before you say, well, Miami beat them head-to-head, well, Miami also lost to Louisville, and they lost to SMU. And it's like, well, and they're ranked ahead of both those teams. So, and before you say, well, they lost more games, and it's like, yeah, that's true, but it's not about the number of losses. It's also about the quality of losses. Like, it's not so black and white. And you have to remember, Notre Dame lost by a combined 4 points to Miami and Texas A&M. If not for a missed holding call, Notre Dame beats Texas A&M, and Texas A&M is the number 3 team in the country. So that context has to be taken into account. Since then, they've steamrolled their schedule. They just went on the road and destroyed a ranked team. And I'm just like, how do you not take that into account? And as the season progresses, the committee always takes into account how teams change. Miami has a loss to Louisville. They have a loss to Louisville and SMU. So they lost to Louisville on the 17th and lost to SMU on November 1st. So those are all fairly recent losses, and they happened within a short period of time. You have to take that into account. Every year the committee does this. I'll give you a really good example. Actually, Alabama beat Florida State beat Alabama. Florida State is not even ranked, and I understand Florida State went 5-5, but the concept is exactly the same, which is that the head-to-head doesn't count when one team's resume is so much better than the others. Week 1 losses don't mean that much. They're not a great way to evaluate teams. Think about this. Ohio State, not this past season, but the year before that, when they won the national championship, they lost to Virginia Tech.
Yep.
Virginia Tech ended up having a terrible year. They ended up losing to Boston College, if I'm not mistaken, that year. And it's like, does it really matter that they lost to them head to head? If Notre Dame played Miami now, Notre Dame would be favored. So, and I'm not saying that's the end all be all.
They were favored in week 1, weren't they? I think they were.
I don't remember. I think Notre Dame, Miami might have been favored because they were at home. But yeah, the bottom line is I don't think a loss on the road in week 1 by 3 points is telling you a whole lot about that team.
No, I totally agree with you. And that's just a big testament to how teams progress throughout a season. Obviously, I mean, going back to Alabama, it's just they're obviously a much different team than they were in week 1 because that was Ty Simpson's first start as quarterback for them, and that was they were figuring out their kinks still. Florida State. I mean, I don't know what's changed about Florida State where they've gone so far backwards from week 1, but and for in Miami's case too, it's they got. I'm willing to say Louisville's a bad loss now. I am, because Louisville has lost to Virginia, and didn't they just lose this past weekend too?
Yeah, they did. They lost to Louisville. They lost to they lost to Clemson, which is not a terrible loss, but they did lose to Cal the week before.
That's what I mean. Yeah, Cal's a bad loss at home. Cal's a bad loss at home. Clemson at home, I mean, whatever. But losing to California at home, and then Virginia also losing to Wake Forest at home. I mean, the ACC is so strange, man. It is such a weird conference.
The ACC is like the opposite of the SEC, which is that the SEC, the teams play tough schedule, teams beat up on each other because they're good. In the ACC, it's the opposite. Teams beat up on each other because they're not that good.
Exactly. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, and also,
it's so weird to think right now as we sit that Miami's still not in contention for the title game.
Which I think is a joke because
it is.
And the thing is that that's very much on the ACC. Now, in terms of the ACC getting a playoff team, I think the only ACC team that's actually worthy of a spot is Miami. And the committee agrees.
Probably.
And the committee agrees. Now, unfortunately, they can't do that because the ACC winner has to get in. I pray to God that they don't let in a non-Power 4 team this year, because they don't have to, but they very often do. If they're going to, they don't have to.
There is a spot allotted for one Group of 5 team,
but they don't have to. They don't have to give it to a Group of 5 team.
No, they do. It's the best Group of 5 winner that gets in.
Wait, do they have to give it to the best Group of 5 team, or is it just any at-large bid? I thought it was just any at-large.
It's the best Group of 5 winner that gets the last spot in.
Okay,
that's why Tulane is in the projected bracket right now.
Wait, let me just look it up. Oh, you're right about that. I don't know why I thought that wasn't the case. You know what it is? It's not that the best Group of 5. It's not that the best Group of 5 team is not worthy of a playoff spot.
It's the best 5 conference champions. That's what it is.
Right.
Yes.
So a conference championship winner in the Power Four is not guaranteed a spot. So the ACC could technically be left out.
Technically, but it won't happen.
It probably. You're right. It probably won't happen.
Like they're not going to take Tulane and take James Madison ahead of the ACC. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
now, that is. I'm no fan of the 12 teams getting in. The thing I hate the most about this playoff format is a group of 5 team being guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. I don't think it's a bad thing that a group of 5 team has the chance to get in, but the fact that there's a quota for a group of 5 team to get in is what I can't stand. If you want to pick,
and that's just the thing about the guaranteed top 5 conference champions. It's like, you know, obviously, like let's say a group of 5 team goes undefeated in a year. Sure, yeah, you're in the playoff. But like if you look at a Tulane, they already have 2 losses, and like they played, who was it? Ole Miss on the road and just got boat race.
Yeah,
it's like you're gonna see what's gonna happen if they were to make the 12-team field. They're not gonna win a game,
right?
So it's like that's a prime example. You know what I mean?
Right, they're 8-2. Like, so they have 2 losses. I mean, they have a better shot. So you know what this means? This means that Tulane, that a 2-loss group of 5 team has a better shot at getting into the playoffs than like a 2-loss Big Ten team does. Like, and by the way, like the committee ranked them 24th. Isn't that why do we need to have automatic anythings when we have the rankings? Isn't that why we have the rankings? So you rank the teams and just pick the top 12 teams. Why do we need to have anything automatic? The whole thing.
Well, they switched the top 4 to be not the conference champions, which was correct to do.
I agree.
Like why are we still like I get it. If a group of 5 team goes undefeated in a year and wins their conference championship, throw them in there, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in this case, I don't think there's so many more deserving teams like a Tulane or like a North Texas or like a James Madison. You know,
I don't know why it's like. I think because a lot of people, because college basketball does it, and you see a whole lot of teams that like. You see a whole lot of Cinderella stories in college basketball, and people think the same thing can happen.
It's not the way it works in football.
It's not the same thing.
No, it's not.
It couldn't happen in college football.
Like a 12 seed playing a 5 seed in March Madness. Like, that's a very potential upset. Like a mid-major school who had a phenomenal year could easily beat a 5 seed in a given game.
But in football, that would it would take like 100 years for that to happen, if at all, for that to happen. Like in football, it would just lead to a team that doesn't belong getting blown out in the first round. That's all it's going to do in football. And I think that in a weird way, we need it to happen that way. So people realize how stupid it is. So people realize how bad of an idea it is to have a guaranteed spot for a group of 5 team. It's a joke. I mean, what Paul Feinbaum said on his first take was spot on. We pick the 12 best teams. That's what they should do. Pick the 12 best teams.
I will say this too. Like last year, Boise State get again. Yeah, I would agree with them being in the playoff. Yeah. I would definitely agree with them being in the playoff, but not a bye. No. I mean, if anything, like if you want to guarantee them get a home game, like sure, they can host the first round game. I get it because they were technically the 4th highest ranked power conference champion, or not power, but like they were the 4th highest ranked conference champion. Like give them a home game in the first round. Then that's fine.
Yeah.
They're probably not going to win it.
But like the thing is, though, it's like what they did with the automatic seeding was it gave Penn State a much easier path in the playoffs.
I mean, they had a
the Big Ten championship game, and Oregon got screwed. They had a tougher path. They beat them in the Big Ten championship game.
Literally,
Look, I'm not making excuses for Oregon losing, but it's like, come on.
Penn State had to beat SMU at home and then had to beat Boise State on a neutral field. Like that's. Thankfully, they got rid of that. Yeah.
In terms of the playoffs, people are asking, is Texas done? So it used to go from, so for so many years, it went from, is Texas back? Is Texas back to not being back? Now it's, is Texas done? Is Texas back to not being done? And the short answer is no, they're not done, at least not yet, but they're probably not getting in. I think
if they beat A&M, there's a shot, but
if they beat A&M, I think they will get in.
Probably.
I think they will. It would be hard for them. I think it would be really hard for them not to. But think about this. So let's just say we have 3 I think they're probably not going to get in. They're probably not. I think that Texas and because they're going to give two ACC teams the winner of the ACC championship and the winner of the ACC and Miami, even though the winner of the ACC is probably not worthy, probably even less worthy of than
you
Texas.
Think Miami's in right now?
They might put them in.
I don't see a 10-2 Miami making the field. I don't.
Maybe not. Maybe they shouldn't.
That Louisville loss is going to keep them out, man. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you what I think the committee might be thinking. That's it. But maybe not. Maybe they just put in one ACC team and give you two Big 12 teams. Maybe that's the case.
Well, yeah, because Texas Tech's pretty much a shoo-in at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you got to put in Texas Tech, and they're probably going to put in BYU also. Unless I don't know.
Well, those two teams are going to play each other in the Big 12 championship again. So,
right, but they're not going. The point is, if BYU is in when they go to the Big 12 championship game, they're not going to penalize them.
Yeah, if they're 11-1 going into that game, they're not going to get penalized for it. No.
Now, I would not be stunned if BYU loses to Cincinnati this Saturday. Like that. That is a classic letdown spot.
It's on the road too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on the road in Cincinnati. I think I could see there being what I think should happen is one Big 12 team, one ACC team, and I think that ACC team maybe should be Miami if you're going to put an ACC team in. Otherwise, don't put an ACC team in.
But it won't be.
But if there's any ACC team that should get in, it's probably Miami if they beat Pitt. If they lose to Pitt, it's like, all right, that's done. Yeah. We're done with Miami now.
Yeah.
But I think that I could definitely see them. Oh, wait, fine. Maybe not two ACC teams. Maybe between the Big 12 and ACC, three combined teams. The group of five team. All right, that's 4 spots reserved. That's 5 for Notre Dame. So that leaves 4 spots for the SEC and 3 for the Big 10. The 4 SEC teams that are going to get in are fairly obvious. The 3 Big 10 teams that are going to get in are also fairly obvious if Oregon beats USC.
Yes.
If USC
Oregon's a shoo-in if they win this weekend.
Right. But if Oregon loses to USC, well, Oregon's best win at that point is Iowa.
Yep.
Your next best win is probably Penn State.
No, your next best win would be at Washington.
Arguably. In fairness, though, I think Penn State, they kind of just fell off after the Oregon loss. I want to be fair and give them credit for the team they played at the time.
I don't know if that's how they would weigh it, though.
That's fair, too. Either way, their best win would be Iowa, and they'd have 2 losses. That resume is not that good. Comparing them to 4-1 loss, or in Alabama's case, technically 2 loss, but Alabama's effectively a 1-loss team, really. SEC teams, and it's like, yeah, Oregon's not getting in with their two biggest tests being USC and Indiana, which they both lost. Like, I don't think Oregon's going to be the odd man out in that scenario. So I think
they both losses at home too.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying Oregon shouldn't get in that scenario. They should. They should get in. But knowing the committee and knowing how everything's going to work out, they're not going to get in that scenario. So in that case, but the interesting thing is, I think Texas and USC are very comparable in a lot of ways. In a weird way. I think I like USC more than Texas. I think they're look, Texas has 4 losses. One of them they scheduled. In fairness, USC also lost a game that they scheduled. Texas, if they have 4 losses, that would be a loss against A&M and Georgia. USC would have a loss with 3 losses, assuming they lose to Oregon, would have a loss to Oregon, Notre Dame, and Illinois. And Texas would also have a loss to Florida. USC's 1 loss is better than Texas's 1 loss, without question. Losing to Illinois is better than losing to Florida.
It is.
Especially as a West Coast team, you're traveling across 2 time zones to play for.
Yeah, you're kicking off at what you're used to it being 9 a.m.
Right. So I definitely Illinois is a better loss than Florida.
It is.
I also think USC's body of work is better than Texas's. Texas had a lot of close calls against really bad SEC teams. USC does have a win, and it does have a win against Iowa. USC
Steamrolled Michigan.
Yeah, and Michigan.
Beat Nebraska on the road.
I don't think Nebraska wins that impressive, but I would say I think that the win against Michigan
It's still a road Big Ten. It's still a road Big Ten win.
Fair enough, but
in a hostile environment. I mean,
fair enough, but USC's signature wins would be against Michigan, who they steamrolled, and against Iowa.
Yeah.
Texas's signature win would be Vanderbilt,
Oklahoma.
Okay, fine. Vanderbilt and Oklahoma. I forgot about Oklahoma.
It's Oklahoma for sure, dude. Yeah.
Oklahoma sure. Actually.
They steamrolled them. I mean, they killed Oklahoma.
But what I'm saying, and now I do still like USC's body of work a little better than Texas's in that case. But those two teams are very comparable, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they're in very similar situations, and the way the committee has set it up is that USC is ahead of Texas. So in the scenario where, say, both teams lose,
I think that's just because of the fact that USC has 2 losses, Texas has 3 too. I think that's a big testament to that as well. And that USC, I guess, probably has. Well, I don't know. Actually, man, Texas has the better win between the 3 of them or the 2 of them combined, but
yeah,
the body of work. Yeah, I would agree with you.
Yeah, I like USC better than Texas.
I mean, the 2 losses are on the excuse me, the 2 losses on the road to Illinois, Notre Dame. Like,
but also also Texas, like I said before, Texas was struggling to beat below average SEC teams.
Yeah, I mean they could have lost on the road to Mississippi State.
Yeah, and Kentucky.
Frankly, should have. Barely escaped Lexington with a win. Kentucky sucks too.
And they did lose by a pretty big margin to Georgia. And in fairness, the score made it look a little worse than it really was. But I mean, look, when you look at Texas, they lost by a bigger margin, by the way, against Florida than USC did to Illinois. But they should have lost to Kentucky. They should have lost to Mississippi State. And I think they've been struggling a lot more against bad teams than USC has. So from the way everything is set up, it looks like USC would get in over Texas, but I think it's not going to matter. Neither team is going to get in, I don't think, unless USC beats Oregon, in which case they can get in. I think you're right. I think it really can be like a pseudo elimination game. Quickly, Virginia Tech hires James Franklin. Really, really good hire by Virginia Tech.
Oh, fantastic hire. Yeah, fantastic. I mean, Virginia Tech hasn't had football success since Frank Beamer was there. Really, if you think about it. So, I mean, the fact that they brought in a guy who's proven to kind of revive programs. I mean, Penn State was kind of in the dumps when he got hired. So
people forget that. People forget how bad of a position Penn State was in. When James Franklin took over, people thought that Penn State would never recover. I mean, look at what happened with SMU. SMU took longer to recover from improper benefits than Penn State did. And I would this is as good of a hire as they could have had. James Franklin undoubtedly is the best head coach available. Yeah. He's the best head coach available. Unless you think they could have hired Saban or Urban or some other great all-time great coach, which obviously
they ain't going back. I don't think either of them would be going back.
No, Nick Saban is not. He's certainly not going to go back and coach Virginia Tech. No. Urban Meyer maybe would go back and coach, but I don't think anybody thought Urban Meyer was going to go back. So unless you thought they were going to get Saban or Urban, this is the best hire they could have had. Right. James Franklin. People criticize James Franklin for not winning the big game. Well, when's the last time Virginia Tech was in the big game?
Yeah, you got to go back to probably early 2010s, maybe late 2000s.
They never won a national championship.
No, but I mean they contended for the ACC year in and year out when Frank Beamer was the coach there.
They haven't been a good team since I was in college.
Right.
That's how. So the program is terrible. It is weird to me for you to say when you're a team like Virginia Tech, you're not worried about a guy not winning the big game. You have to make it there first. And by Virginia Tech standards, James Franklin is as good as you're going to get.
Absolutely.
Hey fans, Novig is here to change the way you play. Available in 35 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and New York, Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market, and it's 10 times more profitable than traditional sports books because there's no house edge. Instead, you're betting directly against other sports fans just like yourself. Novig is also the only free exchange, which means you keep every dollar you win, whether you're putting plays down on the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball, college sports, or even UFC and tennis. Novig gives you the power to pick the best odds, or better yet, set your own. Sign up today with the code ETB Network, and you'll get 1,000 Novig coins plus $5 in Novig cash, and special bonus offers like spending $5 and getting $50 back. Novig, where fans play smarter. You must be 21 years or older to play. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Forever Power 5 is presented by Playback. Watching sports is more fun with others, but we spend too much of our time watching alone. Playback is a virtual space where communities can stream live sports together with everyone perfectly synced up. Creators can hop on stage, deliver their own play-by-play analysis and commentary, and invite viewers up for Q&A. Playback makes watching sports fully interactive and a social experience. From playing fantasy sports, repping your favorite players and teams, and watching the commentators and communities you care about. Win or lose, sports are best enjoyed together. Join our community by going to playback.tv/ETB network to find out more, including our live stream schedule. And now back to the show.
So I do want to get into some picks for the weekend. Hopefully I do as good with my picks here as I did in Vegas. Missouri at Oklahoma. Oklahoma is giving 7.5. Wait, I need to double check because I'm always afraid that the lines are going to change, which they often do, especially on Novig. They do change quite a lot. So, all right, here it is. All right, 7.5 over under. It moved to 41.5. Moved down. Missouri to Oklahoma minus 7.5. I love Missouri here, plus the 7.5. I am not predicting that Missouri is going to go to Oklahoma and win. I'm not predicting that. But if they did, would that not be the most Oklahoma thing? For them to for Oklahoma to beat Alabama and then lose to Missouri. Would that not, that would just be such an Oklahoma thing to happen. That wouldn't stun me too much. I'm not predicting that, though. Oklahoma is a really, really good team. I think they match up well against Missouri, similar to how they match up well against Alabama. I think Oklahoma seems to do fairly well against offensive teams with very good passing games. Not Ole Miss they didn't do well against, but teams that are very dependent on passing games. I think Missouri and Alabama both kind of fit that description. So I think the matchup is okay. But Oklahoma they don't really blow anybody out. They don't get away from teams very easily. And I just don't think they're going to cover this spread. I think Missouri covers the spread. I think it's going to be a fairly low-scoring game. I would actually go with the under on this. I think that Oklahoma will be able to contain Missouri, but I think it's going to be a low-scoring game that Oklahoma wins. And I think that's what it – I don't think they cover this number. So I'm going to go with Oklahoma and the under.
You've almost convinced me to join you, to be honest. I'm not going to, but you almost convinced me to join you.
Well, can't you see Oklahoma winning this game 20-17?
Oh, I totally could. That's kind of what I was thinking. But no, I see more of a 20-10 kind of situation. I just think Oklahoma's defense can be able to shut down the Missouri offense that does struggle sometimes in some games.
Yeah.
I think that Oklahoma is kind of turning a corner right now, especially after that win against Alabama. And they're turning a corner at the right time. Obviously, as Mateer keeps getting healthier and healthier, that defense keeps figuring itself out better and better. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think they shouldn't be ranked, to be honest. Their best win is against a 5-5 Kansas team.
Your most impressive performance was a loss against Alabama.
Yeah, literally. So, I don't like Missouri to go into Norman and and like hang around like you think. I think Oklahoma's gonna kind of command this game, like, and their defense is gonna command it. So yeah, like I think it's gonna be like a 10-point win for Oklahoma. So give me that number, and I'm definitely with you on the under though, for sure.
I don't know.
On the under.
I don't know, man. I smell a little bit of a letdown spot here for Oklahoma.
I can see it too.
And I think 7.5 points is a lot. And Oklahoma, like I said, they don't really win games by big margins. Like,
well, and obviously the thing is too, if it's a 7-point win, Missouri covers. So,
and they're also, very John Mateer reliant. John Mateer is not the same player he was. And yeah, I really just don't have a ton of hope. I don't trust Oklahoma that much. Miami minus 17 at Virginia Tech. Over under is 48.5. I really like Miami here. Short answer, like Miami. I think they blow out Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's one of the worst teams in college football.
Yeah, to go back real fast to Missouri, Oklahoma. Zan said he's taking Oklahoma.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry about that. Zan.
Yeah, no,
Zan
you're good.
Zan's also taking Oklahoma.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I don't really know how much you got to say about this, but to be fair though, Miami plays weirdly odd on the road sometimes.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I can see it. I can see this game. I can see Miami like struggling out the gates, like for a couple drives, but I don't know. I mean, Virginia Tech's terrible. Like Zan said that Virginia could use James Franklin this game. They definitely could. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Miami's fighting for their season lives right now. So I expect Miami to go in and punch them in the mouth. Like they might struggle at the gates a little bit, but I expect them by the final buzzer that they kind of punch them in the mouth a little bit. So yeah, give me the Hurricanes with that number, and I'm going to go over here. And Zan also is taking Miami with the points.
Okay. USC at Oregon. Oregon is giving 9.5. Over under is 59.5. I like USC to cover this number. USC will show up for this game, and I like the over. This game will be a shootout. Classic Big 12, now Big 10. Well, Big
Pac-12,
12, Big Pac-12, I'm sorry. It would be a classic Pac-12 game, even though they're not Pac-12 teams anymore. But I think this USC covers the number, and it goes over.
Same picks here. I think USC covers this number for sure. USC has played some really good football lately. Obviously they started out really slow last week against Iowa, but then they came back and won the game. But Iowa's a pretty solid team, so I'm not going to really fret about that too much with USC. But yeah, I like USC to go into Eugene and really give them a shootout here. I think that the Trojans have been playing some really nice offense. Jaden Mayava and Mekhi Lemon are one of the best quarterback receiver duos out there. I expect a shootout. Not much defense in this game at all. So give me the Trojans and give me the over. And Zan is actually taking the Ducks to cover.
Okay, cool. Did you give his Virginia Tech Miami pick?
Yeah, he picked Miami.
Okay, making sure. All right, Arkansas and Texas. Texas is giving 9.5. Over under is 57.5. I like Texas here, coming off a tough loss against Georgia. I think Texas is really trying to prove themselves. Arkansas, I don't think Arkansas has much life left. Coming back to Texas to play Arkansas, I think they're going to kill them.
I'm going to pick Arkansas here.
Interesting.
I'm going to pick Arkansas here to cover that number. Arkansas they're obviously a really odd team, and they're not good. But for some reason, something tells me here that this feels like a game that Texas should win by a lot, but they're just not going to. And I think that's a testament to that Texas. I don't think Texas is really all that out there written out to be. Like Texas, I think they're going to win the game. But I like the Hogs to cover that number and really come in and play them well. I'm not going to touch the over-under just because that's a really interesting line for this game because I could see it going over. I could see it going under. Just depends on how much points are scored. But, yeah, and I think if Arkansas does cover that number, it goes under. If Texas covers that number, it goes over. But just because of that reason, I'm not going to pick the over-under. But, yeah, I like Arkansas to come in and give Texas a tough game.
I'll also take the under in this game.
Okay.
I like Texas, and I like the under. I don't think either team's going to score a lot of points. I could see, 57.5 for Arkansas and Texas is a pretty big number.
I agree. Zan's just going the over. He's not taking a side.
I'm surprised he's taking the over. Like, I don't think this game there's going to be a whole lot of scoring.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think if Arkansas covers, it goes under.
Like, I could totally see Texas winning this game like 30-20, if that. Like, I can see them winning it 20-10 potentially, or 21-10. So Michigan at minus 13.5 at Maryland. Over under is 46.5. I like Maryland here to cover this number. Michigan is a really funky team on the road. They don't break away easily at all, including against average to below average teams in the Big Ten. We just saw it this weekend with Northwestern. I think Maryland covers this number. 13.5 points is just too many. Michigan's just not, they're not a good road team. They're not a good road team.
No, they're not. That's why I'm picking Maryland as well. I picked, we were all very high Northwestern last week. Look what happened. Northwestern should have won the game. Michigan had to settle for a last-second field goal to beat Northwestern at Wrigley Field last week. So
yeah,
Michigan is a really weird team on the road. I don't trust them on the road for 1 second. I know they have the win at Nebraska, but again, I don't really know how impressive that really is. But besides that, they got steamrolled by USC on the road. They beat Michigan State by 14 on the road, which they had the backdoor cover there. But I like Maryland to cover this number. I think that Malik Washington's going to make enough plays to keep them in the game. I'm going to go the over here. Zan is taking Michigan.
All right. What am I doing here? All right. Tennessee minus 3.5 at Florida. Over under is 57.5. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm taking Florida here. This is a classic letdown spot for Tennessee. I don't have a lot of faith in Tennessee against inferior opponents, generally speaking, other than the time that let me just pull up Tennessee's record right here. So other than the time that they blew out Kentucky, which they did, they blew out Kentucky. But Tennessee, since then they lost to Oklahoma since then. All right, not terrible. They played New Mexico State. All right, like that doesn't really tell you much.
Whatever.
But this season, they have not really shown up well against inferior teams. Like they barely beat Arkansas. They needed overtime to beat Mississippi State. And I just don't really have a ton of faith in Tennessee against Florida. And it's one thing when they blew out Kentucky. Kentucky is a lot worse than Florida, I think. And Florida really just shows up for these games. Florida always plays Tennessee very tough. So it's a rivalry game where Florida always plays them tough, and they're playing in Florida. I like Florida to cover this number. The only thing that worries me is that Florida can't play 60 minutes of football. I think Florida is going to be ahead for most of this game, and Tennessee comes back and wins, but doesn't cover the number.
I like Florida to win this outright, to be honest. I like Florida to win this outright. It feels like the Texas game to me. This feels like the game against Texas, where Florida is going to come in and be motivated. They like you said, they play Tennessee tough every single year, no matter where the game is at.
Yeah.
And I believe, if you go back to, what was it, 2018 or something like that, Florida had a long winning streak in the series, or something like a 10-year, 11-year winning streak in the series before it got snapped. But I like the Gators to win this game outright, actually. Tennessee is not a team that impresses me all that much. I'm going to take the under in this game, too. I think that's just too many points for this kind of game, because I think Florida's defense is going to be able to kind of slow down.
I agree. I'm also going to take the under. I'm going to take Tennessee and I'm sorry, Florida, and I'm going to take the under.
Yeah.
Especially when DJ Lagway is one of the quarterbacks.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, and the Florida defense can hold its own too. So besides the game against Kentucky, which that was weird anyway, but yeah, I like Florida to win a game at home here. I really do. It's their final game at home this season. So I like the Gators to get an outright win here. I really do. And Zan is disagreeing with both of us. He's going Tennessee.
All right, interesting. All right, Michigan State at Iowa. Iowa's giving 16.5. I don't know if that number has changed at all. Let me just double check. I don't think that number has changed at all. Iowa is, I think it's a 3:30 game. It was 16.5 last time I checked. Hold on a second. Iowa. All right, yeah, 16.5 over under 42.5. I love Iowa here. Michigan State sucks. They are
They're really bad.
Not only do I think Iowa is going to, I'm also taking the under. I'm taking Iowa and the under. I am literally taking a team to cover a 16.5 point spread, and I'm taking the under. That's how bad Michigan State's offense is.
Because Iowa's going to win 17-0.
Yeah, exactly. I can see them winning.
They literally might. They literally might.
I think Iowa's going to run the ball a lot. There's not going to be a lot of scoring from either team. I think Iowa wins this game. They cover the number, and the game stays under.
Yeah, like I said, Iowa's going to win this game like 17-0. So I'm taking Iowa, and I'm taking the under easily. Michigan State might not score in this game. Like, they might not. And Zan's also going Iowa minus 16.5.
All right. Finally, Washington minus 10.5 at UCLA. Over under 51.5. I really like UCLA in this spot.
So do I.
Really like UCLA plus 10.5. That hook is very tempting. And Washington sucks on the road. They are such a bad road team, especially, and it's also a classic letdown spot for Washington, coming off a really big win against Purdue this past Saturday. I think, not a big win, but like they blew them out. So I think Washington might be riding a little high. Washington, they're not covering this number. Classic letdown spot for Washington here.
Yep, I agree. I think UCLA actually might win this game outright, to be honest.
I wouldn't be stunned. Washington.
Yeah, Washington sucks on the road. They lost, like we said, they lost to Wisconsin. They lost to Wisconsin on the road. Wisconsin's awful.
Yeah, they are god awful.
Like Washington lost to Wisconsin. That's the epitome of awful, man. Give me UCLA to cover and give me this game to go over.
Yeah.
And Zan is disagreeing with both of us again. He's going Washington minus 10.5.
Zan's got to be a lone wolf.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. That's our show this week. I'm Nick DiMartino. That's Will Charlton. We will be back next week for another edition of Forever Power 5. See you guys then.
Enjoy the second to last week of college football, folks.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.